people are curious about it, what this bring on table to reduce the gas shortage in Pakistan. Well, this bill is trying to address the problem from the demand side. The gas shortage is a more of a supply side problem, but this will help in developing the gas pipeline network. This will help in developing the new gas connection, and this will help in increasing the gas consumer. Currently, 30% of the the country domestic consumers are on the pipeline gas. So this can increase this, and plus because your recovery of the domestic gas is very low, the SWE companies are cash hampered. They cannot invest in their infrastructure development. They can do that. You can develop the pipeline with the Russia, and once you develop the pipeline with the Russia, you connect with from north to south and all that. Then you can develop also then you're developing the new FSRU as well. And when the mixed price is there, there will be more demand in LNG. So there could be a case of more import in LNG, and they develop the case of building the onshore capacity of the LNG. So Pakistan reliance of LNG is increasing, but we are relying on only FSRUs. We have two FSRUs, which is a floating unit, and we are planning to have a third and fourth FSRU. So that is putting too many risk in a floating unit which can wrap up and go any point. And then you are exposed to the pricing risk, like that right now the pricing is skyrocketing international market, and you have to buy in the spot, or you're facing shortage. But in case when you have onshore storages, then you can store the gas in shoulder months, and that can use in the peak season. Now this bill will allow you to do so because you can import more LNG and sell it at the price which is a blended price where more demand is. So in that way, it may help in reducing the gas shortages. But the domestic gas shortage is another problem. So for that, you have to give a better pricing to the domestic gas. So that problem is not to be solved, and I hope that going forward, this problem will be solved as well. WACOG bill is an important bill, and it will help in reducing the circular debt of the gas. The gas circular debt has increased to 700 billion rupees, and out of that 550 billion rupees are gas development surcharge, that is non-recovery of the domestic gas by the SWE companies, and 150 billion rupees is about the diversion of the LNG to the domestic consumers. So with the help of the WACOG bill, the weighted average cost of gas, both the imported and the local gas would be able to blend and price in a mix. There are different formulae which government is trying to adopt. So the government has now the power to determine the price, to blend LNG with the gas and to have one uniform price. The question is, what will the government do? So there are three models which government is considering. One model is that two sector, power and CNG, since there is a full recovery, and that is case of the power, it's a pass-through item, and in case of CNG, there's an alternative fuel. Petrol is option for transportation. So if the CNG is expensive, they move to petrol. So these two sectors are already fully recovering the LNG cost. So the one model is to keep it separate and blend the rest. There is the rest is industry, Punjab, Sindh, KP, and then you have commercial, domestic, fertilizer. So right now, domestic sector price is as low as 121 rupees and as high as 1400 rupees, and there are different prices for the other sectors. So if you keep the power sector and CNG sector separate in LNG, the mix would require less increased price for the domestic, commercial, and fertilizer. I think domestic and fertilizer prices would increase, and they have to increase. The commercial would not, and there would be increase in the industry of KP, Sindh and Balochistan, and there will be decline in the prices for the industry in Punjab. So that is why some people say that this bill is for Punjab, and indeed it's going to benefit the people of Punjab, especially the industrial customers of the Punjab, while the domestic consumer across the Pakistan are priced at the same, and they all would be at some, and their price would be rationalized for rightly so reasons. Now the question is, will it be inflationary in nature? Yes, as I told you about that, the domestic price would go up invariably. In the first model, the price will go up more. In the second model, the price would be go up the highest, and the third model, the price would go up the lowest. But there will be inflationary consequences. So what I think, government may try separate the domestic for the time being, and their price increase would be less. But eventually, that has to mix with the LNG because the price is going to increase in any case. WACOG is not the condition of the IMF, but the condition of the IMF is to rationalize the domestic prices. The condition of the IMF is to end the circulator of the gas, so it's happening. And there's another bill which has been passed about the OGRA, and that was the condition of the IMF. So now OGRA usually revises the prices twice a year, and when OGRA revises the prices, the government had the provision to not pass on to the consumer, and they could stop that. Now, when the OGRA revised the prices, government has to pass this on to the consumer, and they cannot stop it. The idea is to have the full cost recovery, but how much, which consumer to pay, that discretion is with the government, and that is how this link to the above points which I mentioned here in the WACOG. So whatever the formula 1, 2 or 3 applied, and based on that, government has the discretion to give the prices. But whatever the prices are, the full cost recovery of the LNG, the full cost recovery of the domestic gas, that would happen. So that's a great thing. And when that would happen, the circulator would not grow. And when that would happen, the SUI companies, SUI South and SUI North companies, cash flows will improve. Their profitability will remain the same as what it is. That's based on the return of asset formula. But their cash flows are hampered. And that's why there's companies stock prices are going down. That's why the companies OGDC and PPL, because they're not being able to pay to that companies, their cash flows are hampered, so their prices are moved out down as well. Now when they will be able to recover the circular debt, when they'll able to recover their cash flows, they'll be able to pay the OGDC and PPL and all that. So both the SUI companies and OGDC PPL, their share will rally once this thing is implemented in letter and spirit.